takeaway of this day? What is the takeaway of this day? My bestie always tells me one thing, right? My bestie always tells me one thing, and she's always told me this. Don't you ever ask a question you don't want the answer to. Don't ask a question. If you don't want the answer, don't ask the question. Marc Agnifilio found out that today, because he literally was with the CFO, so he's a good businessman, right? He taught you a lot, right? Yeah, you couldn't have done it. Long hours, y'all was building a legacy. He thought he had this ninja, and then he finally said, so in your 19 years of experience, would you say, Cherry said, LOL, love your comebacks, thank you. They said, so in your 19 years of experience, would you say that Sean Diddy Combs is a good person? I don't know what to, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. Literally, he was like Mia. He was like, what do you mean by that? And he was like, would you say, do you admire him? Would you say he's a good person? And he sat there for 20 seconds, just blink slow. And Marc Agnifilio was like, you know what, we can move on. No further questions, Your Honor. And Marc sat his happy ass down. Marc, I know you thought you was gonna come into that courtroom and do the Brian Still slide. You said, you literally, he came in and he was like, oh, Brian is not gonna be the only white boy in this court doing 3-pointers. He tried to do the Brian Still slide, get in there, and he got himself embarrassed. I said, and on that note, I literally sat there and I said, and scene. Thank God that the prosecution has rehabilitated themselves. Thank God Brian Still, Westmoreland, and Xavier stayed away from the witnesses. And we let Marc Agnifilio do what needed to be done, which is help the prosecution prove their case. Anyway, Mom's King said, keep working, Tisa.